Hello, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Monday, December 26th, 2022. In this video, I am going to honor the request of a couple of my viewers who asked me to check into the deliberate presence of parasites in our food. Now, we'll be careful to ask about deliberate because it looks like parasitic involvement with our food products is happening regardless. Let me show you some information that led me to that statement. Okay, at publichealth.com, they had an article about the dangers of eating crickets. It's interesting to note that there is a pretty good possibility of parasitic infection. Crickets used in our food products are preferable to come from a farming or a cultivation situation. And in a recent testing of some cricket farms, over 81% of the samples had parasites. So we have a risk of parasitic infection, also cryptosporidium infection. And while that's not necessarily life-threatening, it does say that if you have a compromised immune system, and so many people who took the jab do, it can be life-threatening. So while they tout the benefits of eating cricket protein, there's dangers involved. Now, it's not just cricket protein. FoodSafetyNews.com recently had an article showing that there is a parasitic contamination to produce products. And what I have done is to put links to those two articles and some snippets from them on my Facebook page. Now, I did that just for my convenience because I do these videos with an older laptop, which I'll replace when I get to Maine. But too many windows open bogs it down, and that's why you'll see sometimes there's a lag in the video. So I'm trying to minimize that as much as possible. And by giving you only a link to my personal Facebook page where you then get the articles, I don't run the risk of YouTube being too terribly unhappy with my sources for information I share with you. But the reason that my viewers asked me to check into this is they have been hearing alt media chatter that, especially coming out of China, food products prepared there for fast food restaurants are deliberately including, not just accidentally or incidentally, but actually deliberately adding parasitic elements to food products that are sent here. So that's going to be our question for the universe, okay? We've acknowledged by virtue of those two, just those two articles I have, that parasites can show up in produce, and that was organic produce that had it, by the way. It can show up in our produce products, so wash them carefully. And some of the supposedly environmentally friendly protein alternatives of cricket protein, insect protein, has some real dangers to us for parasitic infection and other not good things for the human metabolism. So we want to ask the universe, though, beyond that, is there deliberate inclusion of parasite elements in food products? And is there other information the universe wants us to know? Let's find out. Okay, we are asking about deliberate inclusion of parasitic elements in our food products. Let's see what the universe wants us to know. Our first card is the Seven of Pentacles, Page of Cups, Ace of Swords, so we're getting a yes, Queen of Wands, Four of Swords, Hanged Man, Magician. Okay, so our question to the universe was, is there deliberate inclusion of parasitic elements in food products, especially those coming out of China? The question is indicated by our Seven of Pentacles card, which is a card showing a long-term effort with a partial success. So yes, that has been something ongoing that they're doing. Now, it's interesting that we're told a little more with the Page of Cups, because one of the things the Page of Cups can signify is that you may need some kind of a creative outlet for healing. Okay, so we may need to be looking at, first of all, what we eat, how it's prepared, and then even if it's in your own home, which is preferable, that's probably the least, the safest way to ensure how food is processed, cleaned, things like that. But we're going to have to be creative about looking for ways to heal from that involvement. We have a big yes in the recent past here with the Ace of Swords. They considered it to be a success, a breakthrough, to send parasitic involvement to us. And as you saw with the article about the cricket protein, with the crypto disease possibility and how that impacts people with compromised immune systems. Just think about so many of our beloved normies who have, in good faith, taken remedies that have done just that. You know, they have compromised immune systems for life. So they need to be very, very careful. In the present, we have the Queen of Wands showing up. Okay. Now she's one of a card that shows some optimism. So it's not as dire as it seems. It hasn't been as successful as they hoped, number one. And when she shows up, one of the things that she can indicate is to be optimistic and go towards self-mastery. In other words, again, we're kind of getting a nod to it's really essential at this point in time to be limiting, definitely avoiding any kind of fast food, but limiting food that has been prepared commercially. So use your own God-given talents or whatever skills you may have in the kitchen and try to endeavor to get clean and wholesome single ingredient products to consume. We have looking now ahead in the near future. Okay, we have the Four of Swords. Okay, now that can sometimes mean a gift is on the way. So we may have some food cleanup that's going to happen in the very, very near future. Don't know if it'll make the headlines. It just depends on if the White Hats ever throw the rest of the deep state out of our MSM so we get some accurate information. Okay, we're getting told the Hangman showing up here. Speaking again of inspiration, we've got a couple of these inspiring cards here. We're going to be looking at how we prepare or relate to food in a whole new way. Okay, we're going to have to. Okay, and again, here's a little nod to those of us that are not just awake about current events, but working on our spiritual growth too. We're being told that we can manifest. We can pray and make and say, I do not consent to have elements in my food that are harmful to my body. And we can ask for cleansing just of the food product. That should be part of our giving thanks anytime we do eat, which is just another layer of safety that we can add to our food. Remember, the magician is about manifesting. That's about making things happen. He does so with balance. Again, we need to balance what we're eating and our food products. So on the one hand, the universe has told us, yes, there is deliberate parasitic inclusion in our food products. It gave us some tips and strategies to how to minimize that, okay, with prayer and intention. preparing as much food as possible in your own home, washing produce thoroughly, and single ingredient foods are probably one of the safest and best way to go. So I'm not going to say that I do that perfectly myself, but I'm going to try to do more of that. Because I don't want parasitic involvement in my system. And I am not averse personally to exploring some remedies that have been for parasites that the mainstream tells us are not useful. So, and I know that if you read up on one truther, Greg Phillips, he credits his cure from cancer to use of an anti-parasitic. So you might want to read what he's had to say about that. Which brings me to my final point, okay? Parasites are an important topic, okay? And so this video tonight talks about them in our food, and my next one will explore some other health possibilities that involve parasites. So that's it for this video though. So do your own shopping, do your own cooking, clean things thoroughly, try for single ingredient things, and just be aware of what you're putting in your body, whether it's medicine or makeup on your body, or the things you eat and drink, okay? And I wish everyone watching this just a big vote of thanks for your time. I don't take it for granted, and that I pray and intention that you will have safe food to eat in a safe environment, and that we will have a resolution to our world that is joyful very, very soon. So be it.